everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm filming with a much nicer camera. My setup is a little bit more Christmassy than usual. And yeah, I just got done with a triple show day, and it was very intense, and so I had this camera and I have one more day with this camera. Thank you, Borrow Lenses. But I have one more day with this camera and I figured, you know what, let me shoot a really nice video. We're going to conclude the Pointe series, Pointe shoe recommendations video today. So I hope you guys are doing well. I know it's been about a month since I've posted. As we all know, I'm not very consistent on YouTube. We are going to get into the last bit of this video, which will be covering Russian Pointes, Suffolk, Gaynor Minden, Danca, and Freed of London. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys the last of my Pointe shoe review. We're gonna try to get through this as quick as possible. And yeah, if you guys enjoy this video and want more Pointe shoe content, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and comment down below what you wear, all of that. I also have done 2 more videos like this, one in the past which had to do with like the basics of pointe, when to go on pointe, how you know you're ready for pointe, all those different types of things, and then part 2 was my first part of the recommendations list. So yeah, let's get straight into this. First things first is the Russian Pointes. Now, I loved Russian Pointes. Here's the thing. I know that Russia and Russian Pointes have been controversial since the Russia-Ukraine situation. A lot of suppliers in the US are no longer carrying Russian Pointe due to the war. So there's a lot of stuff here, politically speaking. And if you guys actually don't know, much of dance and much of ballet is actually very much politically and socially, like society driven. So anything that affects society as a whole affects the arts world quite a bit, and usually you see the arts world being affected, and you start seeing works coming out that are around the social and economical situation in the world. So little history there, but the point being is that Russian Pointes are not as popular as they used to be, but I know so many girls that wear Russian Pointes, that love Russian Pointes. You know, whatever your stance on this is, I understand we're not here to get into the politics of things, but just talking from a pointe shoe perspective, the Russian Pointe Entrada Pro U-Cut is one of my favorite shoes. Now, they were discontinued when I was in the academy days for a short period of time, and then they were brought back. So I will talk about that journey in a little bit, because I actually went from these to the Suffolk Stellars. But the Entrada Pro U-Cut was so beautiful. They were about a medium shank, and they just made my foot look so nice. I loved those shoes. Those shoes were so nice. The U-Cut, I'm a U-Cut girl. I don't like the V-vamps. The U-Cut is definitely the best way to go for me and my foot shape. But it just made my feet look so good, and I know so many dancers. I look at some dancers' feet and I know exactly what shoe, I know exactly what brand, and Russian Pointes, I've put a lot of girls on Russian Pointes, and they are really good. There are a couple of stores that still carry Russian Pointes. There's one in Huntington Beach, and I will put the name in the description down below, that I know for sure still carry them. And I know there's other places too. You can call your local dance stores and ask, and even ones outside, and see if they'll ship if you are a Russian Pointe dancer. But those particular shoes were absolutely incredible. I rate them about 5 out of 5 for me, which is my first 5 out of 5, guys. They were so good. The box was perfect. Everything about the shoe I loved, and I'm so sad they discontinued them right when I needed them most. So Suffolk is one of my favorite pointe shoe brands. As I said earlier, went from Russian Pointes to Suffolk Stellars, and Suffolk Stellars were actually a recommendation from my ballet master, Philip. It was such a great recommendation. I did kill the first pair of shoes very quickly, and I will say I've tried so many. Suffolk Stellars are so popular. If you are 6 single X girl, you know it is near impossible to find shoes in June and December. Always a time that we need them because all the recitals are going on, and also Suffolk takes like a 3-month vacation every year, so that's very somewhat irritating every once in a while when we're trying to get our perfect shoe. But I dance in Suffolks now, back and forth between Suffolks and Freeds, which are actually made by the same maker, believe it or not. But Suffolk Stellars are great. Suffolk Stellars are I would say the harder of the shoes, definitely the most supportive, and if you have extremely bendy feet, Suffolk Stellars are going to be really, really great for you. They just have a really nice break in the shoe, and if you are a pre-break kind of girl like I am, I like to pre-break my shoes. I like dancing in soft shoes, but I do need kind of a better like support around the box, with the wings and all of that. I like that the vamp is actually shorter than most shoes. Some shoes, they cut me off, like if these are my toes, they cut me off at about like too high. So I like that it's a little bit lower, that allows more articulation of the foot, especially around the part that bends at the top, closer to the knuckles of the toe joints. So I really do enjoy them. I've also tried the sonnets. The Suffolk sonnets are really good. It's a little softer, and the box is shaped differently as well. You'll notice that with the Stellars, they break in a particular way and they generally keep their shape. However, sonnets tend to kind of flatten out a little bit, which I don't mind, but they're not my favorite of the shoe brand. Stellars, I will rate 5 out of 5. I love Stellars. They are the best. I love them very, very much. Sonnets, I'll rate about a 4 out of 5. Just not as much the shoe for me, but if Suffolk is out of Stellars, I generally go to one of these 4 that I'm mentioning here. The next one is Sovereign. I actually really loved the Sovereigns when I tried them. I've only had 1 pair of Sovereigns. I've never necessarily gone back because I haven't needed to, but I really like the Sovereigns. The Sovereigns feel a little bit harder in the box, which I like because the box, which hugs the foot and the joints in the bunion area, it actually is much more comfortable, and that's usually the first thing that dies for me. So I do actually really appreciate the Sovereigns because they keep me really well supported, but I can still roll through the foot, I can still do everything I need to do. Loved them. I think they're probably up there. I would give it probably a 5 out of 5 as well, from my experience with it. 5 out of 5. They were so good. I do want to say though, I do believe that the box is a little bit smaller. There's not as much of a platform, if that makes sense, as the Stellars, comparing the Stellars to the Sovereigns. But definitely 5 out of 5 from me on the Suffolk Sovereigns. Suffolk Spotlight is another one that I really, really love. Suffolk Spotlights are very different. I really like them if I'm just gonna pop on stage right away. Stellars, I need a little bit of break-in time for. Sovereigns, I need a little bit of break-in time for. Sonnets, I can go on stage if I pre-break it, but Spotlights feel really good upon just putting them on, putting on some ribbons, sewing them, going straight on stage. I kill those shoes really, really quickly. So that tells me that there's not as much glue in the box, and also usually for me in the Spotlights, the first thing to die is actually the box and the tip of the shoe. So they're not my favorite for that purpose. However, if I am in a pickle, I need a shoe that I'm like, I need to go on stage right now. I absolutely love doing it. So because though that the box dies so quickly for me, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 because it's still a little bit up there, but I really need my boxes to last. That's really, really important for me. And especially if I'm doing any solo work, pas de deux work, anything like that, I need need my boxes to last, especially for turns as well. Like I cannot turn in a soft shoe. My ankles are just too wobbly for that, and part of that is a strength issue on my end, but generally you want a supportive shoe. I definitely recommend you try it out if it's something that interests you. If you have flat feet though, I will say Suffolk is definitely not going to be the brand for you. If you have less of an arch, it's not going to be the brand for you necessarily. But this is from my personal experience with working with dancers who have had flat feet or don't have such a high arch. But if you have super hypermobile feet, you're gonna love these shoes. Let's talk about Gaynor Mindens for a minute. I danced in Gaynor Mindens probably my days coming out of the company. So I had taken I took about a 2.5-year break from dancing due to COVID. However, there was a couple of times when I was in my teaching days that I actually went into the studio and all of that, and I purchased my first pair of Gaynor Mindens. Now, I purchased them because I knew I was gonna have some time with them. I didn't need to necessarily go on stage, and I wasn't necessarily looking for a shoe, but I did want to see what the hype was about, and I wanted to see if it would work for me. Gaynor Mindens are a synthetic shoe, which means that they are not made of glue, they're actually made of plastic. And I like this idea because it'll save you a lot of money. I've known dancers that have danced in Gaynor Mindens that love Gaynor Mindens. Joy Womack, she's a professional dancer. She wears Gaynor Mindens a lot of the time. And I've also had dancers that looked beautiful in Gaynor Mindens. They have several different shank levels. They have like super soft, they have medium, they have like medium to hard, they have hard. It is an array of variety. They have like, there's like pink, green, yellow, I think, and those have to do with the different levels of strength in the shank. I like Gaynor Mindens. However, my biggest issue with any synthetic shoe is the roll down. If I cannot roll down through my shoes, it's a big problem for me, because you don't want to be on point and then just plop down onto flat. You want to be able to roll through your 3/4 point to demi point to flat. Especially if you're running and walking in point shoes, it's a nightmare if you can't roll through your shoes. So because of that particular reason, I give Gaynor Mindens a 3.5 out of 5. I like them. I have performed with them once. They're really great actually for pas de deux. If you have like long pas de deux rehearsals and things like that, they're really great for that. However, they just are not great solo shoes for me. I don't really love wearing them for solos or anything like that, because again, the roll down aspect, you feel like you pop up and then you come back down. When you're up and it's great, but when you're down, it's very difficult to get back up, in my personal opinion. But if you are looking for a shoe, I've seen so many dancers in that shoe. They look beautiful and gorgeous on the feet. However, it's just the actual wear time of it and the dancing in them is just not exactly where I'd like it to be. So for that reason, 3.5 out of 5. However, if you have inflexible ankles and you have inflexible feet and you're looking for a softer shoe, I have had girls go on Gaynor Mindens that actually looked really nice, and they did figure out how to roll through their feet. Since the Gaynor Minden company went from their manufacturer overseas to the US, it has changed slightly. So I have not tried the ones since they've been manufactured in the United States. So we shall see. If you guys have tried Gaynor Mindens and you really like them, let me know your thoughts and your comments. This is all based on my personal experience, and so I would love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on any of the shoes that I've mentioned. Another synthetic shoe that I have tried, and I've done a full review on this shoe, is the So Danca Electra shoes. I like the concept, and I've rewatched the video I filmed, and I think honestly I've given it too high of a rating. I personally just had to get away from the shoes after a while. They just were so uncomfortable. the idea is there, but there's a lot to be fixed with that particular shoe. But the idea and the technology behind it is so brilliant, and if they really actually refine and perfect the shoe, I think it would be so good for so many dancers, and a huge it would be a huge opportunity for them to be able to do it. The So Danca Electras basically are a point shoe that you're able to do virtual fittings with and all these different things, but it comes with a different array of shanks. So you could do super soft, medium, you know, extra hard, all these different shoe shanks that you can pull out of the shoe and you can also put in, and you can interchange the shanks, which is so cool. I love the idea, because I'm one of those dancers that I'm like, I need a soft shoe for snow, and I need a hard shoe for flowers, and I need you know, all these different things. And so I have my personal preferences, and to have a shoe that is really versatile that way is brilliant. However, it just doesn't work for me. And there's a lot of things to be perfected. They're not the most comfortable shoes when it comes to like the drawstring area and all of that kind of stuff. It has cut into my ankles very deeply. I've actually had like pictures of like huge deep cuts that I've had. I've had a lot of girls that tried it. Some girls love it, and then some girls were blistering really badly. And usually if you're blistering, it's a sign that your shoes are not fitting well. And so because of that, and there's not really a whole lot of in-between sizes, and there's just a lot of sizing issues with the shoes. So for that reason, I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5. I think in my last review I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, and that's when I was still dancing in them quite a bit. And then I wore the shoes for an 8-hour rehearsal, and I had potada and everything, and my feet were in so much pain by hour 3. It was horrible. So, and I'm not one, like if I have a long rehearsal and I'm in, let's say a Suffolk for instance, yeah, my feet are gonna hurt, but not to that level. And so I would just be really careful. If you are going to experiment, I would suggest checking out the video that I made. I'll leave it a link down below and in the cards, so that you can check out the full review of this shoe. Our last shoe brand and our last couple pairs of shoes that I'm going to be talking about are the Freed of Londons. So Freed of London is really special because they have a lot of different shoemakers, and I wish I had my shoes with me right now, but Freed of London, I actually fell in love with them. My friend who used to professionally dance, she had like a bunch of point shoes in her stock that were custom to her. However, we have very similar feet, and so a lot of her customizations actually would have been my customizations had I gone to a company that would have customized shoes for me. So she had these custom ones. I believe they were Freed Castles. They were absolutely incredible, and I love them. They are so beautiful. I feel so good dancing in them. Now, one problem, Freeds, I love them to death. They are so beautiful. However, the box breaks really quickly. So I did try Studio 2s by Freed of London, which I absolutely adore as well. They were so good. And I was actually able to get in contact with Freed. They will actually do a consultation with you to do custom shoes just for you with your customizations. They file it away. You are able to do this, and I did it. I customized my own pair of shoes, and they are like, I love them. However, it is expensive. So point shoes are already expensive with inflation. Now you add custom to it, it's a lot. However, I love them so much. Freed are so comfortable. They feel really good. They feel really supportive. Freeds are actually really, like, if you like Suffolk but you need something a little bit on the softer side maybe, I would go with Freed of London. I would go with the Studio 2s. They are still good and supportive and hard, but they break a little bit differently than the Suffolks do. And so the way that they break is actually more versatile for feet that don't have high arches, that are not hypermobile, that are not hyper flexible. So if you have maybe an average foot or a more inflexible side, I would suggest the Freed of London Studio 2s. I think they're amazing. I've put a few girls on Studio 2s recently and they look gorgeous in them. And again, everyone's foot is different, everyone's foot shape is different, everyone has different needs. I will talk about one particular issue with every single shoe that a lot of dancers have, and it's called disappearing heel. Disappearing heel is basically where your foot is almost shaped like a triangle, and so everything fits until you get to the heel. And this is typically where dancers struggle with their heels falling off and all that kind of stuff. I have really bad disappearing heel. It's really not great. I have a lot of trouble with disappearing heel. However, I love the Freeds because they don't give me that issue. They are perfect on my ankle. They hit just the right spot and they work really, really well. So I will say that they are amazing. I highly recommend, if you're looking for something between more of like a Suffolk and between a block, you want to try Suffolk and you're like kind of between those two, I would suggest Freeds. Freeds are so good. 5 out of 5 for me for every Freed shoe I've tried. I will say that the box tends to die a little bit faster than I would like it to. However, I still think they're so worth it. I can go on stage with them. I can make them last. And I'm in love with Freeds. Like, I love my Suffolk Stellars, I love my Suffolk shoes, but Freed of London has a special place in my heart. I danced in them in Nutcracker last year and they were just so great. I kept killing shoes, like it was crazy, and I was going through so many shoes, and the lady actually recommended me. She said, hey, why don't you try Freeds and see if that doesn't work for you, and they were great. So everyone, that finally concludes this series, the Pointe series, where I talk through all my Pointe shoe recommendations and all of that. I will be adding to the Pointe series in the future on different things, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this was super educational for you. I hope that you guys learned something from this. Again, let me know if you absolutely disagree with me on any of my findings and any of my opinions on these shoes. Again, this is based on my own personal experience. Everyone's experience is different. I would love to discuss it in the comments because again, everyone's foot is different. Everyone's foot is unique. Everyone's feet are all different. And so that is the beautiful thing, is that what may not work for me may work for you, and what may work for you will not work for me. And so I really try to encourage my dancers to really do their research, and this is just another video that provides you some education on Pointe shoes. In the future, I will be working with you guys to show you guys Pointe shoe customizations that I do, fun fancy tricks to make your shoes last a little longer, how to jet glue your shoes. I will be doing an updated how to sew your Pointe shoes, all those different types of things. If you guys have anything else that you'd like to know about Pointe and you have something in mind, write me in the comments. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so glad that this Pointe series has been doing super well on YouTube for all of you guys. I love getting to interact with you guys, and yeah. Again, if you're new here, please subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, share this video with somebody else that you think will benefit from this video, and without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Even if you tried, you wouldn't